Welcome back everybody to Synalytics Crypto. My name's Mike. Thank you for joining me here today, guys. I appreciate it. I got something very, very important to share with you. Now, these are things that I've talked about on my channel before, and when I come across things like this, to me, it's confirmation of the things that I have just come to realize through 4.5, 5 years of experience in this market, exactly what is going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys right now, because I like y'all. This is not an altcoin video gem. Altcoin gem video. I know it's so easy to get addicted to those kinds of things because of the gains involved here, but what I'm about to share with you is far more important because it actually has very much to do with the altcoin space as well, and what it really has to do with is Bitcoin, because let's face it, if there wasn't Bitcoin, there wouldn't be altcoins. None of this would be going on. And I want to share with you guys because this channel is very heavy into really, really good investments, and they're all altcoins, right? And I've come out before and I've told you guys that I'm pretty much naked on Bitcoin. I don't own hardly any Bitcoin at all. That's not my long-term plan though. My long-term plan is to use altcoin gains to end up with more Bitcoin. It was hard for me to swallow as my journey has evolved in this entire space. But the more I learn, the more I realize what's really going on. So look, I implore you, please, bear with me through this video, watch the things I'm about to show you, and we're going to discuss it. And I want you guys to be able to, if you're ever going to share a video of mine, share this one because it's extremely important, it's extremely relevant. It's coming from a source that I trust very much. I love Crypto Banter. If you guys are not following Crypto Banter, you're missing out on a lot. Go follow this channel. Tons of good information. Ran is awesome. The guests that he have, other than maybe one or two, they're great. So much information. As a matter of fact, a lot of times I find my altcoin gems by pouring through information just like this. But this is far more important. So we're going to get into that right now, you guys. Look, if you have not subscribed yet, please do. Please share this video. Please just give it a thumbs up. That's all I can ask from you guys. It helps get this kind of content out. We're all in the same boat here. We all want cryptocurrency to do well. That's what we're here for. So sharing is caring, and I appreciate it. So let's get into it. Listen, and I will be stopping this. This is only about 5 minutes or so worth of this clip. I'm going to stop it a couple times. We're going to break a few things down, but this is just as utterly important. If you're in the crypto space, you need to hear this right here.
Uncover data that this bull market may last for way longer than we can ever imagine. In fact, it could last for a couple of years. And if that's the case, then we could see an altcoin supercycle unlike anything that we've ever seen before. If you thought that this 2017 bull market was anything to go by, well, forget about it, because the data that I have today is going to show you that we could be in for a multi-year altcoin supercycle. So not a multi-month altcoin supercycle. What you'll remember about the 2017 bull market is that the altcoins only started running around November. They ran for November, December, and a little bit of January. And then guess what happened? In February, we had the crash, and then that took us into a 3-year bear market. But this time, I think it's going to be different. And I'll tell you why I think it's going to be different. Remember I said to you guys that when something gets the network effect, it absolutely can't be stopped. The only thing that can stop something that has the network effect is government intervention, breakdown in technology, or a new technology that is 10x better than the previous technology. Those are the only things that can really break network effects. And Bitcoin seems to have this network effect. And people all around the world are starting to realize that Bitcoin can't be stopped. Now, I know people use this term quite loosely. Like we talk about Bitcoin can't be stopped, and we talk about it quite loosely. But we're actually at a point now where Bitcoin really cannot be stopped. And I'm not the only one who's saying this. In fact, even the US government, I mean, this is a commissioner at the SEC, Commissioner Hester Peirce, and she is saying we're past that point of banning Bitcoin in the USA very early on because you'd have to shut down the entire internet. She's basically saying, I don't see how you can ban Bitcoin. Now, you can see that. You can see that Bitcoin is gaining such momentum that the same asset that in 2017 people were so skeptical about, well, now it is getting to rival the US banking system.
Okay, we're going to stop it right here. Thank you for being here and listening to this. This is so important. Hopefully you really let that soak in. And believe me, this video gets better. There's a lot of good stuff in here over the next couple minutes. But like I've said before, in several of my videos, Bitcoin cannot be stopped. It just can't. At this point, you're going to shut off the internet if you're going to want to stop it. It's global. It's everywhere. That's what the blockchain is. It's peer-to-peer. If the internet gets shut off, the entire world would be plunged into utter chaos overnight, and we're going to be worrying about things like our very lives, not our Bitcoin. So we're going to go on here, but just look at this stat right here. 55% is where we're at, and growing. Okay, Bitcoin, the best performing asset of all time, basically, is still just a baby, you guys. It's barely a toddler. The world is adopting Bitcoin. We are at the level right now, as you breathe and talk and sleep, in mass adoption. We are in the beginning of the mass adoption phase, and it's going nowhere but up. So let's continue this video.
As you can see, so today Bitcoin sits at over 55% of the entire US banking system. In fact, today Bitcoin is bigger than the entire African banking system. And like I said to you, 55% of the American banking system. So we're at a point now where Bitcoin can't be stopped. Let's talk about the Bitcoin cycle. The Bitcoin cycle goes something like this. In fact, I think Scott Melker actually said it way better than I said it, and I really hope that I've got his tweet. I don't have his tweet.
Yes, you do.
So Scott Melker, here it is, I've got his tweet. Scott Melker said that the Bitcoin cycle goes, Bitcoin, people come in for Bitcoin, they make the profits in Bitcoin, or they believe that Bitcoin has run, then they go into the large caps. Ethereum, Chainlink, Cardano, Polkadot.
By the way, if you see me bouncing, it's because that's my chair. So I bounce. Okay, listen. This is where it gets into the altcoins. By no means am I abandoning altcoins. I love altcoins. I wouldn't have most of my net worth into altcoins if I didn't believe that that was the best way to eventually gain more Bitcoin, because we're not talking about wanting to go back into fiat. You guys know how I feel about fiat. We're going to get into that as well further into this video. But look at this. Bitcoin runs, then it goes into larger caps. I've said this before. Then it gets into small caps. Then it really runs in the mid caps, small caps, and then eventually, micro caps too. The health of Bitcoin is the health of the cryptocurrency market. Don't ever forget that. When Bitcoin goes down, everything goes down with it. When Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up with it. Will there ever be a separation? I don't know. I really don't think so, though. I mean, back in the day in 2017, you had to pretty much buy Bitcoin and use Bitcoin, sell Bitcoin into other altcoins, because that's how you had to do it. Now, we have broken free from that, but it's still, the effect is the same. The king daddy's the king daddy. Okay, and that's Bitcoin. And so you and I, whether we're invested in Bitcoin or not, we are big fans of Bitcoin, just like we're big fans of Ethereum, because everything basically runs on Ethereum except for Bitcoin. But altcoins, you know what I'm talking about, the ERC20s. We need to see health in Bitcoin if we're going to understand what we're investing in. So if you start to see warning signs in Bitcoin, obviously you need to pay attention to what's going on, because there's everything that you need to know is attached to that. So let's continue.
Then they realize that those have run, and then they go into the small caps. And then what happens? They go back into Bitcoin. And this cycle has been happening since 2016, 2017, and it happens every single time. And what crashes the party every single time is when Bitcoin collapses. So what happened in 2017? We had this multi-stage cycle, as you can see over here. And then we got to the top, and the first token to collapse was, of course, Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin collapsed, it took down the entire crypto market. And then we went into a three-year bear market. But what happens if Bitcoin doesn't collapse? What happens if Bitcoin just carries on going up?
This is where we're going here.
It's not impossible to think about it. Because when you take something that is in such early stages of its life and has such big network effects, and you overlay that against the chart that I showed you guys yesterday. Now, I showed you this chart yesterday, chart of 90, the high and ever.
Excuse me.
What that shows is that when technology gets a network effect, it can't be stopped. And that's exactly what's happening with Bitcoin. So if that's the case, then it looks like when you add that and the fact that even governments recognize that Bitcoin can't be stopped, that we may be in for a cycle where Bitcoin just continues to go up forever. Yeah,
I do agree. I have agreed with this for a long time. I've said in previous videos before, that we are at a different stage than we were in 2017, leading into that major bear market that started early in 2018. The institution layers are there. There are things that exist that didn't exist back then. And he's going to say the same thing, but there will still be pullbacks. Obviously, we see them. There was just one, a couple days ago. Pullbacks will happen. Okay, dips happen. But if you were around back then, you saw Bitcoin after every massive super cycle would retrace like something like 80 or 85%. I do firmly believe that those days are over. I do not see Bitcoin ever pulling back 85% again. 50% would be like a top for me. And the thing is even if there was something like that, people would be coming in swooping down because of the scarcity of Bitcoin alone. So people have to wash that mentality out of their ears and understand where this is going, not so much where it came from. Let's continue.
May correct 20 and 30%. But there's a very good chance that from here on, we will never see another 50, 60, or 70% collapse in Bitcoin ever again. To make matters even better for us, Bitcoin is really starting to behave like the asset that we want it to be. How do we want Bitcoin to behave? We want Bitcoin to be a hedge against the dollar. We want people to trade out of their US dollars and say, I'm not comfortable holding the US dollars. I'd rather be holding Bitcoin.
I'm not comfortable holding this US dollar. I'm more comfortable with this roll of toilet paper. One and the same, guys. One and the same. Fiat is dying. Put your fiat in a hole and leave it there.
And that's exactly what's happening. I managed to get hold of this chart for you guys.
We're going to skip through this.
Bond yields are going up. That 10-year treasury rate trade exactly is facing the United States government and their ability to repay their loans. And as they do that, they'll run out of the US dollar, and it seems like what they're doing is they're running into Bitcoin. And governments can try and stop this as much as they want. In fact, this is what happened in Nigeria last
Pay attention to this.
week, remember, or last month. Remember in Nigeria where they said that there's a ban on Bitcoin? Nigeria traded the most volume it's ever traded in the last quarter, 1,750 Bitcoins. All peer-to-peer, no exchanges, peer-to-peer. 1,750 Bitcoin were traded, $100 million worth were traded in one market when there was a ban. I saw something today which drove me absolutely crazy. How does a bank, one single bank,
right? I'm hoping you guys are still with me on this because I've been preaching this on this channel and I will continue to preach this on this channel. We're always going to be trying to find you guys good project, great altcoin gems, but Bitcoin, it's global, it's here to stay, it's not going anywhere, you can't stop it. It's just like the war on drugs or anything else that seems to get banned for whatever reason. It just creates a black market. And the fact that Bitcoin predominantly is a peer-to-peer transfer that really can't be stopped. It can be banned or outlawed or whatever, but you can't stop somebody from sending your Bitcoin. Now, let's say you've got your Bitcoin on an exchange, Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, whatever it may be. I'm sure that if the government, for whatever reason, was investigating your accounts and they froze your accounts like they could with a bank account, then that entity would probably be forced to put a stop on that. But we all know that you don't need to be stuck with one exchange or whatever. And there's private wallets. Nobody can get into your private wallet, whatever, if that's a Ledger or an Atomic wallet or Exodus wallet or whatever it may be. There's many, MetaMask. Nobody can shut that down. That's a private wallet. If they don't have access to your keys, they can't stop you from continuing to have Bitcoin as a peer-to-peer transaction. And that's the difference between Bitcoin and everything else. You can't ban it.
But they're basically saying to people, look, we know that Bitcoin is taking over the world. We can't deny that. It's a $1 trillion asset. But if you're our client, you can't trade in anything.
So he's talking about HSBC because HSBC came out and basically said you can't invest in MicroStrategy because they see them predominantly as a Bitcoin asset company. And so it's really stupid. It's like here's the grain, right? We're swimming downstream. There's lots of water coming and HSBC trying to swim up that stream like a salmon that's just never going to make it to its spawning grounds. I mean, I don't understand in this day and age why somebody or anybody out there could still be like anti-Bitcoin. It's basically, it's economic suicide at that point, and these things still exist. But if you look at all of the people, all of the dominoes that have fallen, people that were so anti-Bitcoin, people that didn't understand it, people that came out and spoke about it, with the exception of a few, everybody understands where this is going, and that's how you get essentially global adoption.
Nothing to do with Bitcoin. I mean, they may as well just take a gun and shoot themselves in the head.
Right.
Because that is pretty much the end of HSBC. Mark my words, today, I don't know what the date is because I'm on vacation, but this is the day that HSBC effectively committed suicide. So that's what's happening on the one side of the coin. Bitcoin, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely unstoppable. And I don't say that loosely. I say that in the real sense of the word. Okay, what's happening on the other side of the coin? Well, the reality of the fact that there's only 21 million Bitcoins is...
Last few minutes of this clip, very important. I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'll break it down for you afterwards, but this is the kicker. This is the really big part of this whole thing.
Starting to really become a reality. So we all know there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoins. And we kind of think that 5 million of them are gone, destroyed, lost, keys lost, Satoshi's coins, etc. So let's say 16 million Bitcoins. Okay, now, there's 16 million Bitcoin, and Coinbase, one exchange, Coinbase, has 56 million users. That means that if every user in Coinbase just wanted 1/3 of a Bitcoin, just think about this. Every user in Coinbase wants 1/3 of 1 Bitcoin. There aren't enough Bitcoin. Simple.
Very simple. And let me give this to you from the perspective of an average Joe. Okay, the average Joe here being me. Now, I've said before, I'm short on Bitcoin. There's a reason for that. I see opportunities that gain against Bitcoin that are happening right now. I do believe there will be an altcoin supercycle, and I do think that that's going to outrun Bitcoin for the most part. Now, even as an average Joe myself, think about what he just said. We're just talking about Coinbase here, just one exchange, over 56 million users. Sure, some of those accounts are probably not even used anymore, but the fact that there's more users on one exchange than there are Bitcoin in the world by an exponential amount, okay? This average Joe, by the time I'm done with a lot of the stuff that I'm doing and the things that I'm working on, I'm gonna end up with more than even just a whole Bitcoin. Hopefully I'm gonna end up with multiple Bitcoins, and I'm just one guy. Just because I make videos on the internet doesn't mean I know anything more than anybody else, or that I am privy to understanding things on a deeper level or whatever. I do my research, yes, but I'm just an average Joe. And the Bitcoin that I'm going to get into is Bitcoin that I'm never going to sell. I'm never going to sell Bitcoin for toilet paper. I mean, dollars. I'm just not going to sell it. I'm going to keep it. It's an appreciating asset. You can't make more of it. The United States dollar has access to the printing machine, right? The printing machines go bare. It's like they're going out to the strip clubs, and just when they run out of money, they just reach in their pocket and they print more money, and they just float it everywhere. And talk about the ultimate airdrop, the ultimate poop coin, right? The ultimate inflationary asset, where it's just, there's so much of it that it can't hold its value. That's what Bitcoin is so important. There is several million Bitcoin that are gone forever, locked up in wallets, whatever. Pete, like I said before, people die, unfortunately. But if you lose your private keys, there's lost people back in the day when Bitcoin was worth nothing. They threw away laptops with 10,000 Bitcoin on them. There's a bunch of hard drives out there. Nobody will ever be able to reach them. So it's actually far more scarce than even the 21 million that are out there. And that's what's important. Now that it's on the global stage and it's peer-to-peer, can't be stopped, immutable. You can break it down. It's fungible to 100 million Satoshis. I mean, this is almost like the perfect form of currency that the world really has ever seen. Let's go on.
That's one exchange in one country. Binance is probably bigger than that. So let's say that Binance has another 50 million users. There's 100 million users, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. That means that even at today's adoption, if there are not enough Bitcoin to give every one of today's users 0.1 or 0.2 Bitcoin.
Think about that.
So the reality of the 21 million Bitcoins is starting to set in. In fact, look at what's happening on the exchanges. Bitcoin is coming off exchanges. Institutions are buying it, and you know what they're doing? They're just storing it. We'll never see those Bitcoin ever again. Well, at least not for the next 5 years. Because in the United States, if an institution buys Bitcoin and sells it within 3 years, they get a higher tax rate. They get an income tax rate on the profits. Those Bitcoin are gone, they're in cold storage. So now, think of 100 million users between Binance and Coinbase. And maybe there's an overlap, maybe it's 70 million users. And think about the fact that the institutions have locked up their Bitcoin. And then add this to it. The fact that every single company in the US is starting to talk about Bitcoin as something that they want to do in their corporate earnings reports.
Yeah. So I'm pretty much going to end this video here, you guys. Those of you who stuck through this, hopefully you got a lot of good information about this. This is something that if you didn't let it all soak in, watch it again. Last point I will make. The institutional layer is here, and it's here in a big way. And it's actually getting bigger. Okay. And once, like he said, these institutions, they're not trying to buy their Bitcoin and double or triple their money. Because if they sell within a certain amount of time, 3 years apparently, they have to pay a huge tax rate. Now, I don't think they're going to want to do that on an appreciating asset. They know that Bitcoin is going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to pull back, yes, but it's going to continue to basically go sky high. I mean, people have thrown astronomical numbers out there for Bitcoin, and I think all of them are going to get hit eventually, given enough time, given the scarcity of Bitcoin, given the fact that once people get their hands on it, and especially big money gets their hands on it, they're locking it away, they're holding it as a reserve asset. Bitcoin is the new gold. It's digital gold, but it's better. If you guys have not watched my video on gold versus Bitcoin, please watch that. I noticed that it's only got like 250, it's under 300 views. Yet I post, an altcoin gem or even just an update on that, and it gets tens of thousands of views. Some of my videos have, over 10K views. And I just want to shift your focus off of the get rich overnight kind of stuff and get you back focused on what brought you here in the first place. And whether it was directly or indirectly, that was Bitcoin. Bitcoin is what you want to have. Bitcoin is what you want to hold. The risk to reward ratio for Bitcoin is much lower than it's ever been, and that's going to continue to grow as the mass adoption continues to grow, as the corporate interest continues to grow, as people start buying Bitcoin instead of gold. I mean, Bitcoin is just barely over $1 trillion in value. It's like 1,080,000,000,000 or something like that. Okay, gold is still just around 10 trillion. That's basically 10x from here. Not only do I think that gold is going to catch up with, Bitcoin's going to catch up with gold, I think Bitcoin's going to far surpass gold by a number of X's. Okay, so we're talking about the new global digital reserve currency, because everybody knows that the US dollar cannot continue on this path. We cannot be $30 trillion in debt and planning on a whole lot more. We cannot bail the economy out of what's happening by printing a bunch of pieces of paper with dead presidents on them. It just doesn't work. History has shown that every single fiat currency has failed. And the United States dollar is no different. Okay, I'm also just going to cover this for you real quick. There is an agenda out there basically to have a zero carbon footprint by a certain time, whether it's 2030, 2035. It's different in different countries, but basically they're going to be outlawing gas vehicles. Okay, I'm going to get a little deep on this subject with you guys. If you're still here, thank you for being here. This content is worth it, I promise you. So the US dollar is basically backed by oil at this point. And unfortunately, war and control of other countries' resources. Okay, that's going to be coming to an end. The only thing holding up the petrodollar is just that. It's oil. It's gas. It's the ability to control gas prices. It's funny because people in the United States, we complain when the gas gets about $4 a gallon. We all lose our minds. We're like, oh my God, gas is $4 a gallon. We actually have the cheapest gas basically in the world. You go other places and it's like $6 a gallon, $12 a gallon. I mean, we keep the price artificially low because we're so involved in getting our hands on that dirty oil. Okay, but that's going to change. The world is moving in a different direction. The United States dollar has an expiration date on it. People don't understand. They have faith in a piece of paper. What happens when this faith starts to wane? What's happening? The new system's already being created. It's digital. Everything's going to be digital. And Bitcoin as an asset to protect your wealth, your purchasing power against this trash dollar, whatever country you may be in. Because when the US dollar falls, every other currency is going to go down with it. Don't think it won't. The world has a reckoning point coming. Everything is going to change. The legacy system is going to get washed away, and the digital revolution is going to grow. It is unstoppable. It's an exponential growth. Even, governments are coming out and saying, we can't stop Bitcoin. Why would we even try? Because at least they're getting it up to that point. So think about these things, you guys. If you're going to be into anything for long-term hold, it's got to be Bitcoin. There's nothing compares to it. There's a lot of people out there that love Ethereum. I think Ethereum's great too. I think Ethereum's going to grow. And there's times where Ethereum is going to outpace Bitcoin in growth, nominated in US dollars. But ultimately, you've got to build your Bitcoin stash. And I'm definitely, preaching to the choir, but I'm also preaching to myself here because I need to get my hands on more Bitcoin because that's what I'm going to be holding on for permanent. That's the kind of stuff that I want to be able to leave behind to, my children, or if I get that far, my grandchildren someday. These are the kinds of things that create your own generational wealth outside of the system, at least for now. We'll talk about some of the deeper stuff in another video, but thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, you guys. And I make these videos because I care. Because you see, these videos aren't the ones that are going to get, multiple thousands of likes or multiple thousands of views on this channel. But for the few that do listen, for the few of you that see this person as somebody who does understand this market and understands world economics the way that I do on a practical level without getting all, doctorate degree on you, please take my words. Again, obviously not financial advice, but how is it kind of sort of not financial advice? Because if other people like Elon Musk and other corporations who have yet to even wait till you see the list of corporations that are going to have to at some point by law start disclosing that they're holding Bitcoin on their asset sheet. So even though it's not direct investment advice, it's like read between the lines and figure it out for yourself. Have fun playing in the altcoin market, but at some point, if you're not siphoning that off into Bitcoin, particularly Bitcoin, you're really hurting yourself in the long run, because those highs, those gains can be really addictive because they release those endorphins. But I'm telling you, you got to play the long game. You got to play chess, okay? If you just play checkers, you're only going to get so far. So what if you end up with millions of trash dollars? When that crashes, what are you going to be holding? I implore you, please go watch the Bitcoin versus gold video and let me know what you think. Drop a comment below on this particular video because I'd love to interact with you guys. Go watch that other video. Drop a comment on that too, because I do believe that you should hold a little bit of gold and silver as well, because anything but US dollars, okay? Property, gold, Bitcoin, in reverse order. Bitcoin, property, gold, and silver, okay? Love you guys. Peace out. Thank you for helping me grow this channel. You guys are so great. Join the Telegram if you want to continue to talk about some of the altcoins that we are looking at, and have a good time. Peace.
So this is the trend that shows the trend of discussion about Bitcoin from earnings reports and stories.
You know what's cool? You know what's cool about Synalytics Crypto? I mean, besides me, just kidding. But, besides my plant, La Planta Corazon, she's got lots of love. You know what's cool about this? And it's probably going to stay this way whether you like it or not. I don't edit my videos. Why should I? I speak directly from the heart. I speak off the cuff, and none of these things are planned. I don't have a script. I don't have a teleprompter. I just give it to you like it is. So if you have little blunders like that, hey, I can laugh at myself. Hopefully you guys can laugh with me or at me, however you choose to do it. But let's try this one more time. Peace.